Welcome to the Secret Math of Money. This show is meant for entertainment purposes only. I hold no financial certifications or information that is not generally available. No guarantees are stated or implied. It is your money, and you are responsible for any decisions you make regarding it. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome again. This is Tyrone, and this is my first episode of my new show that I'm doing called The Secret Math of Money. Now, this episode, really, I'm just going to talk about what it is I'm going to talk about. Why am I doing this show? First of all, everything we do has to do with money. I mean, think about it. We don't say it, but everything we do, go to work, everything we do has to do with money, but we don't talk about it. And the problem that I've seen is that we didn't learn these things in high school. Things that we should have learned about money, about how to handle it. You know, it's not rocket science. There are so many things there are so many industries that are built around money and our money, you know. But how many people know how to create a budget? How many people know how to invest? How many people know why they're saving money? You know, how many people, think about this. How many people know how interest is calculated? How many people know how to read your credit card statements? There are things that we didn't learn in high school that we should have learned, and we did. So what I want to talk about on this show is how money works. Here's the thing. I've had several conversations. Now let me back up first. I am not a financial planner. I am not a certified financial planner or anything. I am not certified in anything in the financial realm. I have a master's degree in finance. That's all I have. Okay, an undergrad degree in accounting. So anything I talk about as far as investing, and as far as any tactics or tricks, take them with a grain of salt. Learn on your own. The thing is, the information is out there. I'm not telling you any secrets. I'm not going to reverse engineer the banking system and tell you how they're ripping you off. I am not going to tell you some deep, dark secrets. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I'm just going to have a conversation. If you're on Facebook Live and you want to hit me up and talk about it, fine. And we can talk about it. Okay, any questions you have. I'm not going to get into the very ridiculously high level details of finance as far as derivatives and all kinds of things like that, of how you finance a business. I'm not going to get into those things. That's not the goal of this show. This show is to keep it real, keep it low level, just to understand how money works. You know, have you looked at your credit card statement and you couldn't figure out how they came up with your payment? You know, I know people who will happily brag about the fact that they have a credit card at 4%, and then they're paying the minimum payment every month, and they're like, oh, the bank likes me because my credit card likes me because they keep letting my payment go down every month. Look at that, I keep paying good, and they keep letting my payment go down every month. And you think, oh, they're liking me. I'm a good customer. Okay, you're not. You know, understand, I'm not going to say they're ripping you off. I'm just going to say there's a reason that payment goes down every month. Okay, you got to understand the math behind it. You know, when somebody says I'm only paying 8% interest, and then you actually look at what they pay. Here's the thing. You borrow $1,000. Okay, what are you paying back? That's your real interest rate. Forget all of that numbers they give you. What are you paying back? You might pay back $800 on $1,000. You're paying back $1,800. That's 80% interest in my book. You know, they say, well, what's the annual rate? Forget that. What did you pay back? Okay, that's all that counts. What are you paying back? So this whole show is just about teaching you about money. Again, I'm not going to try to give you all these secrets of how the banking industry works. It's not about that. This is about just understanding how money works. The math of money. Okay, you get your paycheck every 2 weeks. Okay, do you do a budget? No, I don't need a budget. I keep it in my head. You know, okay, you go to Starbucks every morning. You spend $4. That's no big deal. I spend $4 on Starbucks. And then you realize by the end of the week, you spent $35 on Starbucks and you can't figure out why you're broke. Okay, how many people, you know,
myself included, a lot of times you can't figure out why you're broke because you never sit down and write down what you're spending. Okay, but it's not just about that. Okay, think about this. You're lucky at your job. You got a retirement plan. Okay, you got money that your company is putting away from you every week or every month or whatever when you get paid, and you're just letting somebody else handle it. See, here's the thing. We don't talk about money and a lot of us just don't understand it. And it's not about being stupid. It's just that we were never taught how to manage money. You put your money in your retirement plan and they give you a statement every quarter. And you go, okay, I'm making money. My money went up. Understand this. Let me explain that. How Wall Street really works. They make a lot of money on fees. On management fees. You say, well, my mutual fund manager is only getting it 1%. Oh, that's not bad. I'm only paying him a tenth of 1% to manage my account. Oh, I can work with that. But you put you and 400 of your friends together, or 4,000, and all of a sudden this guy's got $1 billion. He's managing, and he's making $1 million a year, okay, to manage that fund. And over the course of that year, the fund loses 5%. And this guy's only making $950,000 now, or $995,000, whatever. Okay. And you go, oh, wait a minute. When I started, my journey with money goes back really to when I was in graduate school. And I did that whole thing about looking at mutual funds and looking at the 5-year rate and 10-year rate and growth and all this stuff. And I threw my money in an account and I lost half of it in 6 months. And I realized right then, I could lose my own money for free. Why am I going to pay somebody to lose my money from me? Okay. That's what we talk about investing. Wall Street, as we call it, has given us this idea that this is too much for us to understand on our own, that they are the smartest guys in the room. Okay? They're not the smartest guys in the room. These were the guys that crashed the economy 10 years ago. Okay? They are not the smartest guys in the room. What they do, give them credit. I'm not saying they're ripping you off. They're getting paid to do something. My question is this. Why are you paying somebody to do something that you can learn how to do yourself? Because, people don't want to deal. When I put my money away, I don't want to deal with it, but it's your money. It's your money. And at the end of the day, one of the reasons you work is so that at some point in your life, you can retire. And when you retire, you got money. You put it in this guy's hands. There was that commercial that was on still rotates on, and the guy says his broker always asked him about the kids, and he always thought he was talking about his own kids. He realized he was talking about the broker's kids because he put the broker's kids through school with his fees. Understand this. There's a difference between a management fee and a fee to perform. I don't even know who does a fee to perform, but a management fee is, I'm going to manage your money. I might manage it good or bad, but I'm going to manage it and you're going to pay me to manage it, regardless of the performance of how well it does. Okay. So if that mutual fund that you bought loses 5%, well, okay, it just happened. See, here's the thing. Let me back up. And I get excited when I talk about money, people, so you have to excuse me. Used to be, going back 20 years ago, where you got cold calls. You got brokers that would actually cold call people. And they will call you. And we're going to get into this in a later show, and I'll go more in detail. But brokers will cold call people to try to get them to buy stocks. And there was all kinds of tricks that they would use. Well, this stock is going to go up. You want to get it on the ground floor, blah, 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 blah. And you put your money in. Stock may go somewhere, it may not. But if it went somewhere, then if it rose, you did good. If it dropped after you bought listening to this guy, well, that happens in the market sometimes. You can't always predict. So what value are you bringing to the table? If you're telling me, I could have went and bought that stock. And see, that's another thing about stocks. And stocks is one of my real favorite things. You can read books, and I've read many books about stocks and how the value of stocks are. And this is just my own opinion. It's a bunch of BS. Stocks go up and down. Okay, somebody can say, well, according to this calculation, the true value of this stock is this. This stock is really worth $40. It's selling at 33, but it's really worth 40. No, it's worth 33. I see, and that's what we're going to get into. And here's the thing about that, the value of something. Somebody can say, what's your house worth? Well, my house is worth $300,000. Not if you can't get anybody to pay you $300,000 for it. And see, the value is something that happened in 10 years ago. When the housing market collapsed, they come up with all these big words. When the market collapsed, what that basically meant was that what you were thinking your house was worth, somebody else didn't agree with you. Okay? What's your house worth? What's your car worth? It's only worth what you can get somebody to pay you for it. Plain and simple. You know, think about job search. My other show I do about job search. Well, I used to make $130,000 a year. I'm worth $130,000 a year. Not if you can't get somebody to pay you $130,000 a year. That's the reality of value. Value is not what you think, it's what you can get somebody to exchange dollars for what you're offering. Okay, these are the kind of things we're going to get into on this show. We're going to talk about value. We're going to talk about investing. We're going to talk about stocks. We talk about stocks a lot. I'll probably give you some stock ideas, some stock tips. But the biggest thing about stocks is that people need to know this. You can go to a broker and you can go online, do all kinds of research about stocks. And you can read what this analyst says, what this analyst says, and what this one says, and this one says, and all these other, and it's no guarantee that any of them are going to be right. So think about that a minute. It is no guarantee. Okay, so there was a thing that Wall Street Journal used to do it years ago, was they would put the stock table on a wall. I've told the story several times. They put this whole stock table on the wall, all the stocks, and they would get monkeys to throw darts at the wall. Okay, and whatever stocks the darts hit, they would create an imaginary portfolio of those stocks. And then they would track it all through the year. And at the end of the year, they would see, well, did the monkeys portfolio do better, or did these other mutual funds do better? Theoretically, the monkeys should have gotten waxed every time. They didn't. That's the thing, people. Stocks go up and down for 1,000,001 reasons. Okay, we will get more in depth on that when I do the show on stocks. Maybe that'll probably be the first one of the few ones I do. Stocks go up and down for 1,000 reasons, 1,000 times a second. Has nothing to do with research. It has nothing to do with news. It has all kinds of things. It's like the stock market is like a luxury liner where everybody's rowing. Instead of engine, everybody's got an oar and they're just rowing. And every now and then, everybody happens to row at the same instant in the same direction, and the boat moves. Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get deep into stocks. I will try not to make it boring, because it's really not rocket science. And that's my point of the things that I'm going to talk about. It's not rocket science. Investing is not rocket science. Creating a budget is not rocket science. Understanding your credit card statements, it's not rocket science. None of this stuff is rocket science. But everybody has you believing it is. I just saw something where banks, and I wrote it down because it was so crazy. Banks last year made $32 billion in overdraft fees. Think about that. Overdraft fees. So they basically charge people who didn't have the money in the first place. Okay? $32 billion. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying they charge people who didn't have money. Why? Because you overdraft. Now, if you understood how your money works, if you understood how to balance a checkbook, and we don't have to do that as much anymore because a lot of times we pay electronically, but you got to understand why we used to balance checkbooks. You got to understand why, because of that whole issue of float, where if you wrote a check on this date and it got to the bank on this day, there was 3 or 4 days in between where your money was in flux that you said, okay, even though it shows in my account, I better not spend it. Okay, now everything is electronic, but here's the catch. Even though everything is electronic, and you may have experienced it where you transfer money from one account to another in another bank, and it takes 3 or 4 days to get there, you're going, wait a minute. This is all electronics. Why is it taking this 3 or 4 days? During that time, that 3 or 4 days when you don't have access to your money, the bank is investing your money. That's another thing you got to understand. Again, I'm not trying to bash banks. I just want you to understand things. When you have too little money, according to the bank, your balance is below a prescribed amount. They may charge you a handling fee, or they call it something else. They basically charge you because you're not giving them enough money to hold. Okay, but they are still taking your money and investing it and making money off it. Banks make money. We'll talk about how banks create money. Okay, but they're telling you, well, you haven't given us, we need $5,000 minimum in these accounts. You only have $4,000, so we're going to charge you something. Okay, we're going to charge you this money for it. We're going to charge you a fee to manage your account because it's so small, but we have to dedicate people to it. But then they take your money and it goes into the general fund account with everything else, and they're investing your money. So, understand that. Again, I'm not saying banks are wrong. Banks are in business to provide a service, and they do that. But understand how this is all working. My goal is to just go through all this working. Wall Street's the same way. They make, I wrote it down here, they make $42 billion in fees, in the management fees, okay, for managing your money. Now, if you're managing my money, I expect that when the market goes down, because ain't nobody managing the market, I expect my value to go up, okay, because I have a money manager. You are managing my money, okay? If you are not bringing value to the table, then why am I paying you? Oh, you're only paying me a 0.423% of the total. So for yours, you only paid me $27 last year. It's not that big a deal. My time is definitely worth that. Wait a minute, bro. You had $27 billion in that account. So now you made $114 million last year for losing money. What's wrong with this? What's that? Start explaining, Lucy. Okay, there's something wrong here. Okay. Again, I'm not trying to bash them. They provide a service. But part of the service is keeping you ignorant in an intellectual way of what they're doing. When you buy stocks, yeah, you pay a commission because of that transaction. Okay, I've heard some really crazy things that banks do, that investment banks do. They're not technically illegal, but you go back 10 years ago when we had that stock market crash, when the global financial market got waxed. A lot of stuff came out that was like people were doing where the brokers weren't necessarily acting in their client's best interest. Huh? You're advising me, but you're not necessarily working in my best interest with your advice. You're telling me to buy things. Movie. If you see no other movie this year, other than Fences, Birth of a Nation, go see The Big Short. It's probably on cable now. Go see The Big Short. That movie just breaks down so much of how things work. Again, I'm not trying to bash nobody. I just want you to know. I want you to understand. Okay, when is it better to take out a personal loan versus putting it on your credit card? If you charge something on your credit card, when should you pay it back? How do they calculate that interest? It says 3%, but what are they really charging you for interest? Because we go on this annual percentage rate. Okay, how much interest you gonna pay in a year based on, okay, we came up with a year. My point is, I borrowed $1,000. I paid you back $1,500. Well, you paid that back over a long period. I paid you $1,500. Okay, that's 50% interest. I don't care if I paid it over 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years. I paid 50% interest. Just so you know, okay, maybe I had no choice, but I have to pay this. I had to do this way. But my point is, understand that number they show you is not a real calculation because of other things that happen in your account. Because every time you pay the minimum, which they want you to do, the minimum drops. Okay? The minimum keeps dropping. So understand why the minimum keeps dropping. Understand how long it could take you to pay off a credit card, to pay off your car. Why should you pay off your car early? When should you lease versus buy a car? There's some valid reasons for both. But if you are leasing because you can get a nicer car, I see the cars on TV, really nice luxury cars, and those lease payments are not much more than I'm paying on my car note. But then I say, okay, in X number of years, I will be paid off. this car I'm always paying. If that's what you want to do, fine. We have egos. We all have egos. And I'm not saying you should not do something, to soothe your ego. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying understand it. Understand the long and short-term ramifications of that. If you have a job where they match your 401k, you put in 3% or 4%, they'll match it up to X percent. If nothing else, put it up to what they max, because that right there, you are doubling your investment. Okay, if you can put in extra, fine, but at least put in what they're matching. Okay, so this show, and I don't know, I'm probably going to do it every 2 weeks, because I got to do a bit of research for each show. But this is what this is about: the secret math of money. It's those things that we did not learn in high school, but we should have. My theory is when you graduate high school, you should be a full functioning citizen of this country, which means you can write cursive, you can understand your paycheck, you can understand how to budget your money, you can understand how to save your money, you can understand how to invest your money. Okay, of investing, it involves a level of risk. I am not going to sit here and say investing is risk-free, unless you buy bonds or something like that, government bonds. Those are pretty safe. But there is an element of risk. But let me ask you this question. How much is your bank, and I'm not going to name any banks, but how much is your bank paying you on your savings account? What interest rate are they giving you on your savings account or your checking account? Half of 1%? Maybe, whatever, 1/4%. So basically, you're parking your money with them and they're keeping it for free. They got an interest-free loan because the bank is then loaning your money out. Okay, that's how banks make money. They create money. Again, I'm not trying to bash banks. Banks provide a service. I'm just trying to let you understand the process. Okay, you want to know what your bank's spread is? Go to your bank and ask for a car loan or ask for any kind of loan and see what interest rates you get. And then look at what they're paying you for that money. So in effect, they're kind of giving you back your own money. They're loaning you back your own money, but they're getting interest off it. They're paying you 1%, but you're paying them 16%. That's their spread. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Those are the kinds of things. Now, this week, didn't really want to get into anything. I just wanted to introduce myself to some people who may not know me and talk about the show. Now, if you got a question, you can Facebook Live it here, wherever your thing is. Or you can hit me up on Facebook. You can, I'll be more than happy. If I don't know the answer, I'll be more than happy to dig it up. But my thing is this: the more we know about our money, the more we know about managing our own money, the better off we'll be. My personal opinion, and this is just my speculation, again, I think we're going to have probably a stock market correction this year. Okay, depending on how big you think a correction is to qualify as a correction. Hey, Cindy, one of my old high school friends, Liberty Street. But that's just my thought. How do you weather that? What do you do? How do you prepare if you think the market is going to correct? What should you do with your money? Should you invest in gold? I hear people talking about invest in gold and commodities and invest in these things, different parts of the stock market. I invest in companies. I do what some people would say is a minimal amount of research. I'm not guaranteeing my return. Neither is that guy who spent 2 weeks digging through Google's 10K reports. You understand this? When you talk about investing, you're talking about either you buy or you don't. Either you sell or you don't. That's the decision you're making. You're buying or selling. Okay? All that research is not helping you to some extent, So anyway, those are the things we're going to talk about. Let me check my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, my goal is to help people understand the simple things of money, of how money works. Okay, we'll all be better off. I'm not selling anything. I may sell stuff in the future, I don't know. But right now, I'm not selling anything. This is just free. This is me. You want to know why I'm doing this show? The people that have known me all my life, some of my high school friends here, you know my mother. And I always say this: I'm my mother's child. And my mother would do this. If she had the opportunity to provide knowledge. Because here's the thing with knowledge. I've been blessed that I've had some education in these things. If I die, all that knowledge dies with me. If I don't pass it on to my child, to my friends, and they pass it on to their friends, that knowledge dies with me. And then the next person has to start all over and learn these things over and over and over. So that's why I'm doing this, because I don't want people to spend the rest of their life relearning everything. Okay. There are whole industries, particularly the financial industry, that is built on us not knowing, us not understanding what's happening with our money. They're built on that. Okay, on our ignorance. And I don't mean that as an insulting term. They are built on us, on the average person remaining ignorant. Ignorant of their own money, ignorant of, oh, just let me handle it for you. Jackie or Susie or whoever, I'll handle it for you. I got your best interest at heart. And then when it goes sour, well, you can't predict these things. It's like, well, no, you didn't say that back when you were asking me to hold my money. You were telling me how, you know what you were doing, and you're going to this kind of return. When you understand that, you understand why it's so ridiculous that Russell Madoff, the guy who built about $50 billion, how it was so ridiculous that he was able to go on that long. Anybody would have looked at that. You didn't have to be trained. Anybody would have looked at what he was doing, would have said, you know what, this dude is ripping folks off. You cannot have a consistent 8 or 10% return every year. You can't do it in the stock market. Okay? So again, remember, these are the smartest people in the room. The smartest people in the room are getting ripped off like crazy. There's the whole idea of how fast you trade. People getting these super fast computers. They can trade in a split second. Doesn't matter. If I'm buying something, I'm holding on to it for 2 weeks or 3 months. Oh, okay, I bought it at 302.4 seconds or 302 in 10 seconds. It doesn't matter. So I'm rambling. But thank you. Like I said, this week, I just wanted to introduce the show just to let you know what kinds of things we're going to talk about. I will be doing this show probably every other week right now, because I got my other show every week, and I may even switch that one to every other week and alternate the two of them, just because that's a lot of work to do. But I'll be doing it. If you got questions, you see me on Facebook, hit me up with a question, a topic you want to talk about, you want me to talk about, want me to do some research on, I'll be more than happy to, because I like money stuff. That's just, ain't got none, but I love it. But if it's something you want to talk about, you want me to talk about, you want me to investigate for you. Again, I'm not doing exposés on anything. I'm not trying to bash any industries. I'm not a certified financial planner. And I have to stress that, because I don't want to go to court. Everything I say is my opinion. Everything I say is my opinion. You listen to it, fine. You don't, fine. Okay? But this is all my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. You don't want to believe me? Fine. Go get a book and look it up yourself. Okay? Do your own homework. I say go get a book, man. You can do stuff on Google now. Okay? You can Google and learn anything you want. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to do, is just trying to get people, like I said at the beginning of the show, everything we do in life is somewhat connected to money. And it's the one thing that we rarely talk about. Because we don't want nobody to know how much we make. We don't want anybody to know how much we have. We don't want nobody to know how much we owe. We don't want anybody to know how much we're spending. Okay, that's just how we are. But that is the one thing in our lives, money, that just 90 seconds left. That's the one thing in our lives that infiltrates everything we do. You love your children. You want to have a birthday party. How much is it going to cost? You love your children. It's Christmas time. You see people on Black Friday, and they're running around in Walmart, beating people up and running people over with their carts. And you go, really? Because they've done that math of, okay, if I buy it in November, I'll get the bill in December. I won't have to pay it till January. I'll have my bonus by then. Okay. We'll talk about why people, why you should be buying assets instead of commodities. Okay. So anyway, I have rambled. I thank you all. I appreciate those who hung in with me. Probably in 2 weeks, you'll see me again. 2 weeks from today, I'll probably do this show. And, we'll go from there. But again, thank you. I hope you find this information that I'm going to be giving you. I hope you find it useful. I hope you, if it intrigues you and fascinates you, then please, by all means, go and do some more research. So, with that, everybody, thank you so much, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks, right around the time when the Cowboys about to whip somebody behind. So, take care, folks. Bye bye.